Why, hello, and welcome to another weekly edition of Happy Hour with the Lincoln. This is where week by week I'll do my best to answer all of your stock market related questions, rant about stock market topics, and just try to share my 2 decades of trading knowledge with you in the attempts to help you become a more successful and profitable trader. Now, speaking of trading, if you need help with that, you're just sitting there struggling, like I say every week, guys, right here. Here is the link to our live trade room. Click on it. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop living in a hole, helpless, complaining about it. You got to do something about it. You can't just stay there. You'll die down there. You got to get up. You got to push forward. So, all kidding aside, if you guys need help with your trading, right here's the link. Click on it. Now, I do want to make a special announcement before I get started, and that is in reference to last week's happy hour, which I got an overwhelming response to, and I appreciate it because I don't get very many overwhelming responses these days, so I will take it. And the title of that was the One Stock, One Trade Strategy. So many of you sent me questions about that. So many of you wanted to know more about it. So what I've decided to do is a free webinar, which I will be hosting this Wednesday, March 13th at 5 p.m. on this strategy, the One Stock, One Trade strategy. I'm going to talk about everything I know about it from A to Z, the types of stocks that are best used for it, how we find these setups, how we trade these setups, and everything in between. So I'm going to take it another step further to help answer your questions. And like I said in the video I did a couple days ago, if you browse around the channel, you'll see it. This is a great strategy, especially for those of you out there that are struggling with consistency and trying to take that next step. It's a strategy I've been using now for 2 decades. I think you're going to like it, and I think it will help you. So I am going to do this webinar. Somewhere on this screen is a link, or down in the description box, there's a link. It will allow you to register for this live event. So go ahead and click on it. One stock, one trade strategy. I think you guys are going to love this. So this Wednesday, we're going to be talking about that. Make sure you're there. So here's what we're going to talk about today in happy hour. I shall stretch again. Is the truth about trading. One of the more popular questions I get is from people wanting to know, is trading for real? Like, can you build an entire lifetime career out of trading? Is this something that you can do? Now, there's going to be 2 different arguments that come from this, the people that are not successful and the people that are successful. Fortunately, in this argument, I have been on both sides of that fence. I know what it's like to be on the losing end and be a losing trader and losing for a long period of time. And when you're in that mode of struggling, it is very difficult to see the future. It's very difficult to feel positive when you've gotten your ass kicked over and over again about the positiveness of day trading. It's just difficult. It's difficult to vision yourself being successful. And it goes that way with a lot of careers. When you're getting beat up and you're consistently losing, you can be positive, but at some point it's really hard to continue to be positive when all you're experiencing is negatives. And then, of course, I turned my career around, like I said, and I've been successful now for a very long time as a trader. So I know what it feels like to be on both sides of that argument and both sides of the fence. And I think I can share some things with you guys that will help you and help answer that question. Now, the first thing I want to kind of address here is the biggest misconception here we have when it comes to trading. And I think it's a really unique experience when people come into it. It's one of the stranger things, and I was a victim. I shouldn't say the word victim. I fell for this too. And I think people are brought into trading for the wrong reasons. They're sold on the fact that trading itself is easy. So I'm just going to start right here and just tell you, look, there's no such thing as a simple strategy, a simple market, a simple system, or some stress-free way to riches. It isn't like that in any other career in this world, and it sure in the hell isn't like that in trading. Now, I do understand to a certain extent because you see all the ads now about the simple patterns. You do this easy. I'm making $300 a day in 5 minutes and, living this lavish lifestyle and stuff. I know you see that. And easy sells. Let's be honest. Easy sells. No one's going to sell you subscriptions or training courses if they come out and tell you, look, this sucks. It's really hard. You're going to bust your ass. It's going to take you a long time to learn. You'll be rich eventually. Buy my product. It just, hard doesn't sell. Nobody wants to hear hard and difficult when it comes to it. Now, I don't want you to look at that as a negative because, again, I'm just trying to tell you the truth, because if you put yourself in the right mindset to begin with, it's going to pay dividends to you later. I want you to think about anything that you've achieved in your life that you are proud of? Whether it was like a sporting achievement, an emotional achievement, like you just wanted to run a 5K one day, a relationship achievement, a bucket list thing that you scratched off, emotional, financial, doesn't matter. Some really proud thing you are. You got a trophy for it or whatever it might be. Was it easy? I mean, what made that have so much satisfaction in the first place? What made you have the drive to want to achieve it? Because it was difficult. You didn't do it because it was easy. And when you think about all the most satisfactory things in life, they are difficult. In fact, life itself is freaking difficult. I mean, we're all out here just trying to bust our ass every day to be successful. And every rich person that you're seeing, every successful product that you are buying, every successful sports athlete, actor, actress, musician, politician, whoever it is, they busted their ass to get to where they are. Period. You got to. So I don't want you to look at this as a negative. I mean, this is just life in general. But for some reason, people feel that they can come into trading and they can compete against some of the most intelligent, brilliant people, some of the most sophisticated algorithmic programs and hedge fund institutions, and learn that in a few days. It's not going to happen. And I don't want you to think that it will. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for disappointment, regardless of what's being sold. And on that note, that's what I want to talk about, is the biggest truth about trading is it will test you. It will test every fiber of your being. Again, I'm not saying this stuff to be negative. I'm just having a heart-to-heart talk here with you guys. It will test you, every square inch of you. And this is something I've talked about in past whiteboard lessons and other happy hours before, is that what you're really, it's simple to learn a strategy, in my opinion. It's simple to implement that strategy. But knowing what to do, knowing how to read a chart, then executing that in a real-time environment are two totally different things. And if you traded, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's one thing to know, it's another thing to do. So trading will test you. And that's where you're really, the learning curve comes into. You have to build up this mental conditioning to deal with it. One of the examples I've given in the past is, when somebody has a 9-to-5 job, and you really mess up, the worst outcome that you have is your boss yells at you. Maybe you're embarrassed. They said some bad things, put you on the spot, called you out in a meeting or something, and made you feel bad. It hurt your feelings a little bit. That's like a bad day. Now, unless it's happened over and over again, you probably didn't get fired. And if you did, if it was over and over, they probably just reprimanded you. The thing is, you still get a paycheck on Friday. It's still there, right? So you can screw up all week at work, you're still going to get paid. They have to pay you. When you come to trading, it's different because you screw up here, you see it. And it's one of the few jobs, like, if you buy real estate and real estate dives, you really don't see that. It's just, well, I bought this, I'm still paying on it. And I don't see that, there's not a statement that comes in every day and says, look, your house is minus X thousands, your house has lost 200,000. You don't see that. A trader sees the ramifications of their decisions instantly. So put yourself in this position if you don't trade. Traders, you know what I'm talking about. You study, you work, you feel like you have this perfect gem of an idea. And then you do it, and the moment you take this idea, you're like, bam, you're in the red. And the stock starts working against you, and that red gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you start working up here like, oh, I made a mistake. Maybe I was wrong. What do I do? And then you panic, and then you see that thing getting worse, and then maybe sometimes you cut it because of the money. Who knows what the ultimate outcome is with it. But you see the ramifications of your decisions the moment you touch the button. You're responsible for that. You're responsible for getting in the stock. You're responsible for getting out of it. So you see that happen in front of you. And it plays tricks on you sometimes. And there's a lot of careers out there, they don't have that to deal with. So you're trying to condition yourself to handle that. And because of that, that brings me to the next part, which is the lack of understanding what is required in your commitment, what it's going to take out of you to do this for a living. Most of you will have to do this part-time in the beginning because the learning curve may take you a year before you find any consistency, maybe even longer for some of you. And you just won't have the luxury to do it full-time unless you have a job in the evening, and maybe you live in a foreign country or something where the market hours are conducive to your work schedule. But for most people that work like a regular 9 to 5, it's going to be hard for you to trade part-time. It's going to stretch that out a little bit longer, but you're going to find that that's where most people are going to fall in. So most people are just not prepared for the commitment that it's going to take to do this. And like some of the things I mentioned before about learning on the job, that struggling with some of these things, that building up that emotional tolerance and all of that, I think it's very underestimated about how much work you have to do to be successful. Like trading is not just trading stock. It's a complete lifestyle. I've said that before. I live this 24/7. I'm always thinking about stocks. I look at charts at night. I look at charts in the morning. I talk to charts amongst my friends that trade stocks. I look at things all the time. I'm talking about stocks right now. My whole life revolves around this. I'm just living this life. So I think many of you are unaware of the commitment. The next thing is you're going to lose money at this at first. I don't think there's any way around it. Again, this is the things that people aren't thinking about is, you're going to lose some money. How much you lose, that's up to you and your ego and your risk tolerance and your knowledge level. But you're going to have to get used to losing on a regular basis, which is tough for all of us. I mean, most of us are very competitive people. That's why we're getting into a business like trading in the first place, is because we want more out of life than a 9 to 5. And we don't even like to lose at checkers or Monopoly or innocent games like that. But there's this really hard thing even if it's a small loss, just taking a loss, saying the word loss, looking at loss, even if it's 30 cents, is a bitch. It's a hard thing to take as a person that loves winning. Because that's what we want to do. We want to win, 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 win. And there's a lot of confusion for a trader in between losing and winning, what is really a loss. So a professional, how they've handled this, or one of the big changes in my career, was looking at loss differently, saying that loss isn't personal. Loss is part of doing business. And I refer to it myself as like going to a 9 to 5 job. The job is a winning trade. Getting to the job is a winning trade. Buying the clothes that I need to wear to the job, filling up my car with gas on the way to my job, is a loss. That is a loss, like a losing trade. And I have to spend money in gas and lose money there in order to get to said job so I can profit. So I kind of looked at it, a losing trade is that way, saying it's not personal. It's not a reflection of my intelligence level or not. It's just part of doing business. It's out of my control. It's just, if you want to do this job, you're going to have to accept it. So you'll have to get used to loss. The other part of it is that accordion effect that traders go through, that I actually did a happy hour on this. There will come a time where you have this moment where you feel that you have reached success. You'll have periods of success. It'll start out, it'll just be crappy. Then you'll get into these parts where, oh, look, I'm pretty good at this trading thing. I'm reeling off a little bit of money. Then something comes along and it sets you back a little bit. Then you kind of go back a little bit, you walk up, and then you get set back. You got to kind of work through that period. For some people, it's a few months. Some people, it's a little over a year. But it's frustrating because you get these false positives. I think that's the word I was looking for. Where you think, okay, I'm good to go. No, I'm not good to go. I'm good to go. No, I'm not. And it kind of messes with you there a little bit. But you have to go through that. And then the last thing I want to talk about is this constant evolution of change. When I kind of mentioned in the beginning, there's no simple pattern or simple system. There's nothing that lasts forever. You constantly have to change as a trader because the market and the way the market behaves, the market dynamics will constantly change as well. So you're never going to get something and go, I'm just going to put my feet up on the desk, trade this one pattern for the rest of my life, and it's always going to be like this. No, it's not, because the market isn't always going to be like it is right there. And that kind of goes back to what I just said about the accordion effect. When people first start learning, one of the issues there is they think, okay, I'm making money now, but they kind of don't take into consideration, well, maybe the market's helping you out a little bit too. Don't confuse luck for skill. And then you get busted and you're like, okay, well, I wasn't prepared for that, and so on. Hope that makes sense. Now, I'm not saying these things because I want to be negative or scare people away from trading. I actually look at this as a positive, because I think if this is what you want to do, This is what you have to have in your mind. This is the commitment you need to make and the talk you have to have with yourself to do this job. Now, the flip side of this is I want you to look at this positive. And this is what kept me in the trading business was, yes, this is a bitch to have to do all of this, but you're going to have to do something like that anyway, unless you just want to be, a bum your whole life, for lack of a better word. You just want to lay around and do nothing. It's not really a bum. I mean, it's what you want to do it. But if you want to be successful, you're going to have to bust your ass. You're going to have to pay the price. You're going to have bad days. You have to have good days. But the payoff is what you're in this for. Doing what we do was worth every sacrifice I've ever had to make. Every sleepless night, every tear I ever shed was totally worth it. Because I have a job where I don't have a boss, I don't have to commute, I don't have to give a shit about anybody, I don't have to take orders. I'm my own. What else could be have more freedom than being a stock trader? I could travel the world, I could take my income with me. I mean, it's the ultimate FU business. I've said that before. Unlimited income. The market doesn't care about your race, your religion, your background. I mean, you could scrape a couple bucks together, start learning how to trade. Man, it will not discriminate against you. Everybody right now, at this point, has an equal shot. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this happy hour. Don't forget about the webinar. We're going to have a great time. I appreciate it. As always, if you have questions, send them to me at support@thelincolnlist.com. Until next happy hour, trade well. Take care. Talk to you then.